maybe you do and maybe you don't. Maybe some of our audience does or doesn't. But I was married to the chicken man,
Yes.
Frank Perdue. And
That's
so
so good. The
chicken
chicken
out
man.
has a special meaning for me. But
So
in
good.
any case, I didn't chicken out. And here's something that I will share with everybody. Mark Victor Hansen is the easiest person to talk with in the world. He draws you out. He's just totally interested in you.
Yeah.
And so that conversation was extremely easy. He was kind of interested in my late husband and kind of what made him tick. And
Yeah.
that led to another conversation until finally we were talking almost every day. And then I got
Wow.
to know his wife, Crystal, and she and I talked a lot. And somewhere around maybe half a year into this, I asked him, Mark, has anybody ever written a biography of you?
Wow.
And he said no, but he had written a biography that I had written of my late husband, and he liked it. And he
Wow.
agreed that I could do it. So that's how I became Mark Victor
Wow,
Hansen.
that is incredible. So was the biography about your husband the first biography you've ever written?
No, it wasn't. I've actually written several, not of great big famous people, but and normally my writing is in my life. For a good bit of my life, I wrote a weekly column for Scripps Howard on the environment, and it did
Wow.
become the most widely syndicated environmental column in the country during its time.
Wow,
So
was that when you were married, before marriage or after marriage?
during marriage,
Okay. Well, I mean, it makes sense alongside all of the environmental work that you all had to do in order to be a family in that industry. I can only imagine the interest that it took and then also the reputation that was connected to that.
yeah. Like here's something that some people know, many people don't.
Yeah.
But uh, my family, the Perdue family, were the largest producer of organic chicken in the world.
Wow. That's
And
incredible.
that takes doing it. It took almost a decade of learning how to do it because anybody in the world can grow organic chicken, but the problem is the chickens die. You have to
Yeah.
learn how to keep them healthy if you're not using antibiotics or genetically modified anything. And
Wow.
and I talked with a Purdue veterinarian who told me there's almost 100 things you have to get right in the food, in the cleanliness, in the probiotics,
Wow.
to produce organic chickens and have them stay healthy.
I did
Uh,
not know that. What did I mean, like my sister just moved to a farm like 2020 and we're beach girls. Like we were born and bred on the beach. Like I have sand in all the places all the time.
yeah,
And so when she told me that they were moving from here to like a 97 acres, I'm like, well, what are you going to do out there? And so now she has chickens and sheep and cows and horses and all the things. And it's been just in the last 3 years to like vicariously live through her and hear all the stories of taking care of animals. Like she's lost so many chickens, she's lost pigs, she's lost lambs, and just the nature and the circle of life that occurs. I cannot imagine doing it to the level in which Purdue does.
well, as I said, 10 years for us to really get it down. And again, 100 different things that you have to get right. And
Sure.
we've done it. And it doesn't mean that we make more money on each chicken.
Yeah.
Pretty much we don't. But here's where it's a huge advantage to us and why I recommend being environmental to people.
Yeah.
It's been fabulous for market share.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
bet.
there are a lot of national chains. In fact, the last time I checked, but I'm giving you outdated information, it's information from a year ago. There were 258 national brands that were using Purdue organic chicken.
Wow, that's incredible.
In fact, if you're buying a national brand like Whole Foods or Trader Joe's or almost any of them,
Yeah.
and if they have organic chicken, they have contracts with us, and then they'll tell us the specifications they want, the age of the bird and the weight of the bird and whatever else.
Wow.
And to, well, again, it's a year ago, but 258 brands
Oh, I'm sure
that
I'm
were
sure it's
buying.
multiplied since then. That's wild. We're a Trader Joe's Whole Foods family, and so
Yay.
I love hearing that. That's
Well,
so neat.
I believe I can guarantee, because to the very
Yeah.
best of my knowledge and belief, we're the only one that does it on a large scale.
Wow. And to know that there's 20,000 employees there, I would love to know. I mean, I have 1,000 questions, honestly, Mitzi. I want to write your biography. Okay. When it's your turn to have yours written, I'm like, I have so many questions to ask you because you've lived such a dynamic life. And even as I was praying before we started, I said, you know what, God, like, I'm sure there's been a lot of light shined on your dad and him being a part of the Sheraton hotels, and your husband and him being Frank Perdue, and even then Mark Victor Hansen, and all the things that he's done and the accolades you guys have got to share together. But you little Mitzi, I think of you as a little ringlet, like a little girl, just like walking around town and experiencing the hotels when you were small, and then the farmland, and then the environmental side of what you do. The thing that popped out to me most excitingly is this new, and maybe it's not new, maybe it's been there and been cultivated for a long time, but this war correspondent role with Ukraine. And so I want to take a journey of like little Mitzi to Mitzi, who is carrying a gun in our promo video.
Well, actually, since this is a faith-based broadcast, I will share with you,
Please.
kind of like, I mean, it just takes me aback and amazes me. For a good bit of my life, I'm a writer by trade, and for pretty much all my life, I've been a syndicated columnist. But I used to read the biographies of war correspondents. And when I was married to Frank, being a war correspondent, guess what? That wasn't in the cards.
Not so much.
Not so much. No. And somewhere around 10 years ago, I had the possibility of being a war correspondent in Afghanistan. A 4-star general saw the proposal of what I wanted to write. It was going to be called Six Who Served. And it would be the story. I'd been invited to a forward operating base in Afghanistan. And so I'd been invited to come, but it happened to be a group of military police whom I not only knew them in the States, I also knew their wives. And the book was going to be about what it was like for their wives and for those who were there. So I had the backing of a 4-star general. I thought, oh boy, I'm going to get to be a war correspondent. But I got extremely turned down by NATO. NATO said, the 4-star general proposed it to NATO because it had to have NATO approval. And they said, we don't want a 72-year-old woman in Afghanistan, health, who knows what, but it just wasn't a possibility. I was so disappointed about that. And a frequent prayer that I make is, thy will, not my will. So if it's thy will that I don't go, but still I wish I could. And so that was sort of always in the back of my mind, but I'm 82 now. And what I'm about to describe, I was 81. I thought, that door's closed. That ship has sailed.
Yeah. You're like, it's over. If I can't go when I'm 72, I surely can't go when I'm 73 or 74 or 75
or 81.
81.
But I had written a story for Psychology Today on human trafficking on the border between Poland and Ukraine.
Yeah.
And it was printed in Psychology Today. I write for them pretty regularly.
Yeah.
So in this article that I'd written, the title included the word Ukraine and the word human trafficking. Well, it turns out that the head of the Kyiv region police, and Kyiv region is very large, he has 6,400 people under him. He had written his master's thesis on human trafficking. So somehow somebody gave him my article, and pretty soon I'm on a Zoom call with Ukraine. And can you imagine how exciting it is to get a call from Ukraine?
Yes, that's so cool.
Inviting me to come as his guest.
Wow.
To see for myself what I'd written about.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, thank you, Lord.
Like he knows the desires of your heart. It's so cool.
And it was full of kind of, well, I went because I'm a storyteller, and I thought maybe there were stories that would benefit people to know.